welcome to Live in the Hive. I'm Michelle Eagleton and you're watching the only online magazine show dedicated to theatre across Greater Manchester. Yes, I'm here every Sunday night at 8 o'clock with the latest news and interviews from the theatre world. You can find me on Facebook, streaming on the Live in the Hive page. Hello if you're watching on that one, or maybe you're watching tonight on the I Love Manchester Facebook page, that iconic city brand dedicated to community and culture. Well, what have we got this evening? Well, I have to say, with a week to go before Christmas, of course, we've had to inject some panto into our show this evening. Of course we have. And we have got two of the stars of Robin Hood the Panto, which is currently on at the Oldham Coliseum. On top of that, we are taking a look at 2023. Oh, yes, we are. And we are going to be talking to one of the stars of a play that is coming to the Lowry in January, and that is An Inspector Calls. The actor there is Simon Cotton. He's going to be chatting to me and telling me a little bit about what to expect on that one. And of course, every week we bring you Greater Manchester theatre news, where we tell you what's been announced and what to watch out for in our fair city. And this week as well, we are going to be announcing the winners of our Fawlty Towers The Dining Experience competition. So if you have entered that, then please do stay tuned, because we're going to be announcing that a little bit later on, about 8:15. But of course, tonight is like one big great Christmas cracker. It needs pulling. So let's go ahead and take off with tonight's first guest, shall we? Because they are from Pantoland. Oh, yes, they are. Oh, no, they're not. Oh, yes, they are. They're Charlie Ryan and Ian Crowe, and they are starring in Robin Hood the Pantomime at the Oldham Coliseum. Now, I went to watch it a couple of weeks ago. It was fantastic. So the first thing I have to ask them is it as much fun off stage as it is on? That's what they have to say.
We're really lucky because everyone gets on really well.
Yeah.
So it makes enjoying the show. The show's fun to do as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it makes it even more enjoyable when you get on with everyone and you can have a really good crack with the crowd as well.
Yeah. Did you see the one with was it school kids or was it a family show?
I think it was a family show, because it would have been the evening show, because what you're doing is, rightly so as well, it's like you're jam-packed with performances. You're doing two shows today, so you do get a mix of kids, don't you, and families coming to see this.
We do. I mean, the daytime ones tend to be, up until now, the schools, and then the evening ones tend to be the families and adults, and they're both slightly different, shows, just reaction-wise. But they're great fun. I mean, we had 500 odd kids in this morning who had a whale of a time. Screaming their little heads off, they were.
Yeah, they were pretty deafening, weren't they?
We're seeing you in a different light, though, because it's so funny. I'm like, I've got you now without, obviously, your costumes on and your makeup. You look quite different on stage, especially you, Charlie. Tell us who you play, because obviously I know it, but if somebody's not seen you guys on stage before, who are you in this?
Okay, so I play Nurse Nellie, which is the dame of the show. So yes, it's not surprising that you wouldn't probably recognize me from this video, because I've got a full face of makeup, which has been an experience to learn how to put on. I've learned all sorts of things about baking powder and fixing spray and all sorts of eyeliners or guy liners. So I look very different. I've got a much more voluptuous figure, if that's even possible. But it's quite the transformation between this and what you might see on stage. And Ian?
I'm playing Sir Guy of Gisborne. This is a very villain heavy panto. We've got three villains. So the Sheriff of Sherwood is played by Liz Carney. And then I've got Nathan Morris, who's playing Failsworth. So it's a bit like that old Two Ronnies sketch with John Cleese. So I'm the middle one. I'm in between the two, really. Which is
you
great.
are fabulous, and like the three of the baddies really have a great rapport, because you all have very different baddie characters, and I just loved it. Is it good to play a baddie though, Ian?
For me, it's the best. I mean, most of my making children cry at Christmas. I mean, what could be better? In the pantos I've done, I've mainly played villain. I played Dame once, but it's mostly they've been villain roles, and I enjoy doing that. For some reason, I must be good at them. I don't know why.
Oh, we secretly do love the villain, though. There is something as well kind of endearing about the three of you. We can always find a nice side to the villain when it comes to panto.
Yeah, we're just misunderstood. That's
something like that.
Yeah.
Is this your first time doing the Dame, Charlie?
Yes. So I've done panto for about 7 years now, so I've done it quite a lot. But this is the first time that I've ever played a Dame. Usually, I'm kind of that Buttons character or Silly Billy, and sort of traditionally in panto world, that's kind of the transition. You go from that character for a good few years, and then you take your first foray into the high heel or Doc Martens boots. Thank goodness it's not high heel shoes. I don't know how I would have fared with them. But so this is the first time I get to play Dame, which is, at first it was a bit daunting because there's a lot of expectation about a Dame, but also it's so much fun because you really get to play with the audience. And I think that's a good thing about the baddies, especially in this show, that there is a real opportunity to play with the audience and have a bit of fun. And so that's what I've been really enjoying as the Dame.
Well, there's a particular scene. A particular scene really cracks me up that you are both in, and also Nathan. It's like a school scene. And Ian, I'm not giving too much away, but you are dressed as a school girl.
Yeah.
I mean, what a pair of legs. What a pair of legs.
I mean,
It's just so funny. How do you not corpse in that scene?
I don't know. Practice. Well, I can't see myself, obviously. I just love that scene. It's like, it must be 100 years old too. It's a very old panto sketch that hasn't changed much, probably since panto started out in the 1880s or whenever. So I love doing it. Obviously, we brought it up to date and do a few extra naughty gags in it, but no, it's good. It's good fun.
That's what I love about that. I mean, kind of the Oldham Coliseum does tend to do this traditional panto. You know, it's all. I feel with this panto, it's more about kind of the characters and the storytelling. You've got great costumes and great sets. I mean, gosh, your Stranger Things costume. My little girl was like, go on. She was in awe of your costume. But there's a real sense of the traditional panto with Oldham. You always get it right there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful stage to play on. I mean, it's just... Obviously, it's been going 137 years, the Coliseum, and it's just built for comedy and playing. You know, it's a joy to be here, pleasure to be here. You know. Yeah,
I think when we started rehearsals, Chris Lawson, the director, was very clear about that. This is a panto that has its traditions within the community, and the audience expect that traditional family panto. And in panto, the final member of the cast is the audience. So. We had to make sure that we try to stick to those traditions of having that family-friendly, fun, vibrant, but traditional panto. And I think we're getting away with it.
Yeah, I think we are. On a good day, we're behind.
There is a little bit of a modern spin on it, and this was something as well. I'm not down with the kids, so I didn't pick up on. But I think, is there a little bit of like TikTok medley songs that go on? Or at least songs that everybody knows in the TikTok world?
I may not be the person to ask.
I was going to say, we may not be down with the kids either. But yes, we're reliably informed that there is some TikTok dance routines which have been interesting to learn. I remember my sister and brother, after about the first dance rehearsal we had, I drove straight over to my sister's house. I was like, apparently this is a TikTok dance. You need to tell me how to do it. Something to do with spaghetti legs. And
spaghetti
I was like, I don't know how to do this. So me and my sister, bless her, in a bedroom, spent 20 minutes trying to work out how to make my legs go like
love it. Because your sister, I saw her on the night that I came. Rebecca was there, and James, and they're in Corrie, aren't they? And they do their TikToks. They do.
They're much more down with the kids than me. They're both younger than me, so it's okay. But yeah, they're both actors as well, and so it's quite good. And my sister is a very, very good Irish dancer. You know, my mum was a world champion Irish dancer, so if there's any like dancing things that I need to do, it's like straight over to Becky's house, and she can teach me how to do it.
I'm coming round to your family house at Christmas. All those performers in one house. You must be very entertained.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, or annoyed, one of the two.
What are you guys doing for Christmas? Because I know when you're doing Panto, you don't get much time off. I imagine, is it just Christmas Day that you guys get off?
Well, we've got
Boxing Day as well.
Yeah,
it's really lucky for us. I think because of the day it falls on a Sunday, so we've got 2 days.
So are you going to be celebrating in Oldham? Are you going to go back home? What's going to be happening for you, Ian?
I'm going to hang around Oldham. I love it here. I'm from Brixton in London, so I'm the only one at the cast that's come up from the south. You need a southern villain, don't you?
Yeah, that's it.
And yeah, I'm just going to hang around here. My girlfriend lives abroad, so we'll do something festive after Christmas, which is fine with me.
Oh, you'll have a good time in Oldham. They're a good bunch in Oldham. What about you, Charlie? You're local, aren't you?
Yes, I'm local, so I'm Bury, Prestwich way. So I mean, it's a very, very short drive for me home, which is an absolute treat. Because usually, if I've been doing shows away at Christmas, you know, you finish your show at Christmas Eve at 10 o'clock, drive 2.5 hours to get home, and then driving again on the morning of Christmas, Boxing Day to get back for the next show. So I've got the luxury of being 20 minutes away, so I can drive home, have a lovely Christmas with my family, have 2 days off, and then back in again. So it's ideal for me.
Burning question though: sprouts or no sprouts on your Christmas dinner?
100% sprouts.
Yeah, me too.
I love a Brussels.
Yeah,
I love a Brussels.
Though I hated them as a teenager. I hated them till I was in my 20s. But
well, I think that's like most people, isn't it? But I tell you what, I do some mean sprouts, right, with a bit of bacon. And then fry the sprouts with the bacon and put some cream on it.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, where do you live again?
Well, you're always welcome in the Hive. This is my garden bar studio, and there's no last orders, Ian.
Yeah, that sounds good for me.
Just down the road in Middleton. Come anytime. You are here until the 7th of January with the Panto, aren't you?
We are indeed.
Mm-hmm. And do you know what? And it's great. You've had a nice stretch. Actually, I think Oldham is the first Panto to kick off the Panto seasons in this kind of area. So the 17th of November until the 7th of January. It's going to be fab, honestly. So if no one's seen it, they need to get down, because I can honestly say it was the best night. You guys made me smile from ear to ear, and it did transcend, you know, between kids and adults, and that's what it's about.
Thank you very much, Michelle.
Oh, I love that Panto, and so wonderful to talk to Charlie and Ian there from Robin Hood. They are amazing people, and if you want to catch them in action, do head down to the Coliseum. You've got until January to see it, and I can guarantee the Panto action there is absolutely fantastic. Now, talking about things that are fantastic, we've got some great news for you now, because it's, of course, that time of the day, of course. It's time for this Greater Manchester Theatre News. And, well, what have we got for you this week? Well, I tell you what, it's been one heck of a week for this theatre. Yes, the Octagon has been shortlisted for the prestigious Theatre of the Year award. Now, this is at the Stage Annual Theatre Awards, which is so wonderful for them to get nominated in this category. It's all about theatres that have demonstrated artistic excellence, financial resilience, innovative business practices, and positive workforce conditions over the last 12 months. They're up against some other strong nominees in this category: the Bush Theatre in London, the Curve Theatre in Leicester, Harold Pinter Theatre in London, and Liverpool's Royal Court and Lyric Theatre in Belfast. You're going to have to wait until the 30th of January to find out if they're successful. So we've all got our fingers crossed for them. And the ceremony is going to be held at Theatre Royal Drury Lane. But what an absolute fantastic nod there for the Octagon Theatre. A big well done to all of them there. That's a great Christmas present, isn't it? And also, talking about Christmas presents, this is a good one for Katie McGlynn. Now, you'll know her from Coronation Street, maybe Waterloo Road. She is about to step on the stage and join the cast of Wish You Were Dead. Now, this is coming to Salford next May. It's going to be fantastic when it comes to the Lowry. Of course, she's a local girl. I'm sure the crowds are going to love her. And this is a thriller. It's based on the Peter James novel. So maybe seeing her in a different guise than we're used to. She's actually taken over from Giovanna Fletcher, who has been playing the role already in the tour. So yes, this is one to watch out for in 2023. And talking of the Lowry, there's a heartwarming event that they are doing over Christmas for children in hospitals and hospices across Greater Manchester. They're going to be live streaming a performance of Room on the Broom direct from the Lowry stage. So children can watch at the Royal Manchester Children's Hospital, the Christie and Francis House Children's Hospice, which I think will be wonderful. Around 500 children and their families will be able to enjoy this show. So well done to the Lowry and Tall Stories for providing that. I think that'll be a really nice Christmas treat. Tell you what, there's been some great productions, hasn't there, this year across Greater Manchester. Let's hope that 2023 is just as wonderful. I'm sure it is going to be. Now, talking of wonderful things, it is time to announce the winners of the 40 Towers dining experience we've been running all week on Facebook. The winners have been chosen. They were chosen on Friday night after the entries closed at 5 o'clock. We randomised them, we spun them on a wheel, and we are about to reveal who they are. Now, there's 4 pairs of tickets to give away, and if you look just underneath me, these are the lucky winners who will be joining me on the 24th of February at my table at the Hotel Brooklyn. We are in for an absolute treat of a night. Get your glad rags on and get ready to be entertained by Sybil, Manuel and Basil as they take up residency at Hotel Brooklyn. It is going to be an absolute hoot. I will be in touch with the winners, so do not panic. You'll be getting a confirmation from me after the show. Woo! More competitions to come in 2023, and if you enter, you could be a winner. Now, talking of 2023, that brings me to our next guest, because we're already thinking about what might be coming our way. And in January, we've got a J.B. Priestley classic. It's an Inspector Calls. It is a thriller of a play, and Simon Cotton is one of the actors who is currently on tour with it. So I asked him what it is like to be in such a standout production.
I mean, it's a proper play. It's fantastic. We sell out everywhere we go, which is just amazing. But for that to be a play rather than a kind of, you know, we're used to the big musicals doing well, and that's fantastic. There's a space for everyone, but to do a real meaty classic of English literature, it's awesome. Yeah, it's great.
Well, I've got to say, I was saying to my little girl who is 12, I say she's little, she's 12 going on 20. And I was saying, oh, I'm interviewing one of the actors from an Inspector Calls. And she went, oh, that's all over my school. We have posters everywhere. So you're right. It's kind of on the text. But of course, it's J.B. Priestley. And we know that well renowned for his theatre work, his plays.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of those plays that when you say you're doing it, you've got, I'd say 70% of people of a certain age in the UK, just they instantly know it from either having studied it at school or they've got kids that are studying it. And that is an amazing part of why it's still going strong, why this particular production is still going strong today, because it's on the syllabus. Our matinee audiences in particular, we get a lot of schools. And that's fantastic in its own right. And actually, we've got an extra matinee in Salford. So they obviously particularly love it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there'll be quite a few kind of gasps, I imagine, from the audience. Does that put you off?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we kind of, it's an amazing thing, because when we have our younger audiences, shall we say, it's a completely different show. It's a completely different experience to the evening shows or to the Saturday evening shows when we've got a purely adult audience and they're kind of sitting there silently taking it all in. When we have the younger audiences, they react to everything. They react like it's kind of an episode of EastEnders or something. And that's kind of cool in its own way. It's just a different way of seeing it, and it keeps the piece alive. Sometimes it can be off-putting. It's never when they react to the show, it's never as off-putting as when they're rustling their Maltesers or opening cans of drink. That's much more off-putting. But
you don't do that. You don't do that at all, especially not in this production. Now, if somebody out there hasn't seen it or hasn't had it as a text, basically it is what it says on the tin. An inspector calls to a house.
Yeah.
But then it all kind of erupts. How much can you give away without giving away, Simon?
Well, it's on the surface, it's kind of that classic Edwardian, post-Edwardian drawing room thriller where a family, in our case, a family who are celebrating my character's engagement to the daughter of the family, and they're quite well off. They're very happy in their lot. They're almost too happy in their lot, shall we say. They're quite complacent. And their night of revelry gets rocked by the visit of this mysterious, or he turns out to be mysterious, inspector, who comes with news of a girl who's committed suicide. And through the play, we work out how each character is responsible for this event. And that's not giving too much away. But that's it on a kind of surface level. The kind of deeper meaning of the play, and I think the reason why it's survived for as long as it has, and why the actual reason why it's on the curriculum, why it's still important, why audiences just still turn out in their thousands, quite literally, to see it, is because it's got a far more potent message. So whilst it has the elements of that exciting, noir thriller, the smoky drawing rooms and everyone in beautiful costumes, an incredible set, an incredible design, incredible lighting design, sound design. It's also got a far more powerful message. And that's why that is why it's kind of exists in its place where it does today. As this classic, particularly this production, which we're very privileged to be a part of the 30th anniversary tour of. I
know, it's amazing, because this is Stephen Daltrey as well that has done this production, and of course his list of credits is on and on, but a lot of people will obviously recognize him from the Billy Elliot movie, his great work. And you yourself, I mean, you're a writer as well as an actor, so in terms of appreciating this, I imagine you get it on both levels, kind of like, getting the meatiness of a part, but also kind of seeing how Priestley's done this.
Yeah, I mean, that's very kind of you to say. My writing's at a very different level in my career to JB Priestley's. But, watch this space. But yeah, no, it's amazing to be part of something that essentially is more than the sum of its parts. It's more than just it's raison d'etre. Its reason for being is to impart this message, and sometimes it doesn't do it very subtly. I mean, there's a direct relationship with the audience where Priestley, through his inspector, is kind of relaying his message. But the power that still holds, as a writer myself, that's what you dream of, is kind of producing something that is as resonant now as it was when it was written. And that is the genius of the writing, but also the genius of Stephen Daldry, to kind of recognize that this is a play that doesn't belong in, the 1940s when it was written. It doesn't belong in Edwardian times when it was set. It doesn't even belong in the 90s when he came to produce it. It had been forgotten. It hadn't been produced for 20 years. Everyone thought it was this boring play. And he recognized that there was a lot more to it than that. And he kind of made it present. He made it sing to the present day. And 30 years on, it has resonance with 2022 as much as it did with 1992. And I think that is the real genius of the writing. Priestley's family, his estate, who come to see it from time to time, and sent us nice biscuits and that sort of thing. And they love it. Production. When Stephen first put it on, he was telling us a story of how they kind of gave him their nod of approval, and they had seen it done, as I say, countless times, and it was set in this particular way that's kind of a bit as you would expect. And I think the message had been lost, and then they saw Stephen's production and they were like, yeah, this is the one. And that's
it doesn't get better than that, though, does it? When you kind of get the stamp of approval from the family as well, because they are super close to it. But I think you are a little bit of an inspector kind of clues guy yourself, because a little bird told me that when you proposed to your lovely wife, Fiona Wade, that you just littered all over with clues that she had to uncover. So I think, there's a little bit of a through line coming there, Simon.
It was. I mean, it's coming up to 4 years ago since my proposal. Actually, it was quite elaborate. I'm not going to lie, but she deserved it. She deserved an elaborate proposal. So it was a lot of fun. I can't even remember all the details now. There's so much going on. I planned it meticulously for days, weeks. And it was really hard because I was on tour with another show at the time. I was on tour with The Bodyguard then. And I had to leg it down from Glasgow. We were in Glasgow, and I legged it down from Glasgow and set up this whole thing. And it was all over London and then back to her where she's from. And there were hotels involved and cars involved and chauffeur-driven cars involved and trips to Paris at the end of it. It was pretty cool.
You have set the standard high for lots of men out there. All the men are watching this going, oh, Simon, what have you done?
Sorry. But she deserved it. She definitely deserved it. Deserves it.
Did you meet on Emmerdale? Because, of course, Fiona, we know from Emmerdale, and you starred in Emmerdale yourself. Is that how you met Simon?
Yeah, we did. I was only in it very briefly, and there was a lot of serendipity going on there, because to cut what is a very long story short, she had another friend on the show at the time who I'd worked with previously, but I'd never met, and he knew that I was doing the show, so he suggested we all go out for dinner, and then I had scenes with Fee, so we went out for a dinner, and then we had time on set to kind of chat, get to know each other, sitting in the wool pack when we weren't kind of on camera, which is quite surreal.
Yeah.
And we just kind of kept it going, struck up a friendship. I obviously hoped it would be more than a friendship. She claims to this day that she didn't think it would be anything more than a friendship, but I don't believe her.
Oh, what a lovely man Simon was. So sweet. I really hope he isn't the murderer when it comes to an inspector calls. Very disappointed if he is. But if you want to find out who done it, then head to the Lowry in January. You will see Simon and the rest of the wonderful cast of that fantastic play. Now, talking of productions, if you want to find out what's going on across our fair city, there is only one site to go and find out. It is the I Love Manchester website. It's got all the things that you can see, do, whether it's eating, drinking, or theatre, all those things that are great fun. And talking of fun, if you want to follow me, do follow me at Live in the Hive 21 on Twitter and on Instagram. As I say, we're having a bit of a break for the Christmas and festive season. We will be back, though, in 2023. So all is left for me to say is have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. My jazz hands are firmly in the air for 2023. So I'll see you very, very soon. Merry Christmas!